January 9th, 2020, school committee meeting to order. Our first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our second order of business is recognitions. This evening, we are pleased to recognize our swimming and diving team. Present tonight to be recognized are members of the Walpole swim team who have won events at the state level. Sophomore Amanda Mellish won the state and sectional championship for diving 2 years running now. The boys swim team were also state champions for a second year in a row. And I'm going to read a list of events the students have won. Casey Laliberty won the 200 freestyle and broke the meet record for 500 free. Michael Rose won the 50 freestyle and 100 fly. The following students won the 200 freestyle relay and set a meet record. Matthew Smudgedelis, Casey Laliberty, Matthew Ferraro, Michael Rose, and the following students won the...
Andrew Hendricks. No.
This is the second one here.
Oh, sorry, I have a different one.
No, I'm just reading ahead of me, Nancy.
I'm sorry. Sorry.
Don't mind us, it's fine. The following students won the 400 freestyle relay and set a meet record below, breaking their own from last year. Matthew Smudgedelis, Casey Laliberty, Andrew Hendricks, and Michael Rose. We have Coach Cheryl Kavanaugh and diving coach Chris Brady to present to introduce these athletes and highlight their impressive accomplishments.
So I don't really have anything to say, but boys, would you stand up one by one and introduce yourself? Starting with Zach.
Hi, I'm Zach Lavoie. I'm a senior. What, do I need to say anything else, or?
No, that's it. Go ahead, Mike.
Rose, I'm a junior.
Jason Liberty, I'm a sophomore.
Robbie Batio, I'm a senior. And Brigham Byerly, I'm also a senior.
Nick Guyette, I'm a freshman.
Michael Carlin, I'm a freshman.
Andrew Hendricks, I'm a junior. And I'm Matt Ferraro, I'm a senior.
And we also have our girls' team is here too because they represented us in all our 4 relays. They finished 12th, and Anna Smith finished 5th in the 50 free. Girls, would you stand up and introduce yourself?
I'm Erin Foley, and I'm a junior. I'm Danielle Averill, and I'm a junior. I'm Grace Morale, and I'm a freshman. I'm Grace Mortali, and I'm a freshman. I'm Amanda Mellish, and I'm a sophomore. I'm Isabel Grant, and I'm a sophomore. I'm Jenna Pompey, and I'm a freshman. I'm Emily Rose, I'm a freshman.
And we recruited for next. Go ahead, girls. I didn't see you way back there. Anybody else? And we also recruited a new one for next year. She's right here. So she's going to join us, so that would be great. I would like to introduce Coach Brady so he could say a few things about Amanda. She was our state champion 2 years in a row, and Coach Brady's done wonderful things for our program. So, Coach Brady.
I promise I'll keep this short. Amanda doesn't like big speeches, but I just wanted to share a couple of things with you. This was a unique year for me as a coach, for her as a competitor, and suffice it to say it was challenging in the least. We came into the first day of practice, and Amanda was on crutches and in a walking boot. And we tried as much as we could for the first 2 or 3 weeks of the season to balance out her workload and give her time to rest and heal, and 3 weeks in, it just wasn't working. And Amanda, her parents, her coaches, decided to take the big gamble of shutting her down for the whole season. The idea was to try to give her time to rest, to heal, put the whole dual meet season aside, and come back for the state championship run. She shut it down in early September and healed until the first week of November, where she competed in the Bay State Conference Championships, and the rust was showing. She had what we call an oops on dive number 5 and ended up second that day. But the following week, she came back in the MIAA South Sectional Championships, buried the field, winning by more than 100 points. And then in the biggest meet, as a sophomore in a state championship, She went dive for dive against one of the better divers from the North Shore, a girl from Wilmington. And in about the 7th round, Amanda moved ahead and held the lead comfortably, winning the state title. 2nd year in a row. It was a personal best for her. The awards followed quickly. She was named as an all-star for both the Herald All-Scholastic and the Boston Globe All-Scholastic. And then this past week, we finished her package, submitting it to the National Interscholastic Swim Coaches, which is our national governing body, nominating her for All-American consideration. We won't hear until the spring, but if she gets that recognition, Amanda Mellish will be recognized as one of the top 100 divers in the entire United States. An amazing young woman.
Thank you very much, Coach. Questions from the committee? Or comments? Mrs. Scallion?
Swim team is just one of those things that's very near and dear to my heart. And I don't know if who would want to speak to this, but I've seen a bunch of these kids grow up from age 3 and 4 years old, because my kids were swimmers. And one of the great things about the program is the camaraderie that happens year over year as kids spend time together. But I also think that there's something special about swimming because of the individual sport that it is, as well as a team sport. So I think that there are times when the biggest accomplishment comes from somebody who didn't win the race, but somebody who improved tremendously. And I'm just wondering if any of you kids could talk about that part of it. Like, why is swim team important to you? What do you, I had a feeling Matt might be one of the people who would want to speak.
I was asked to come up here again.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for inviting us back. So to expand on your comment, I'll start off with individual versus group. So swimming is not only an individual sport, but it is also a group sport, similar to track. So what happens is you swim your own race, you acquire points, and then it kind of accumulates as a team. And then those two team scores are compared. So one of the best things for swimming is that you put in the effort that you would want to put in. You can see yourself succeed, you can drive yourself, push yourself. But the other factor is you are pushing for the team. So, you know, when your team's low and everyone's not having a good day, that will show. When you can kind of rally the troops, group together, you can have a successful day, and that leads to bonding. Swimming is one of the sports where we do not have a boys and girls team, so we're combined. We are swimming and diving, males and females. So what we show, I feel, we kind of create this community where we can have boys and girls swimming together as one sport, well, two sports, but as one kind of team. And we've successfully do that. We go to kind of locations where we have team bonding. And we kind of have an emphasis on that to kind of show that over the years we can grow, we can develop, we can make a family. For some of us, we've been swimming since we were 3. For some of us, we've been starting off as a freshman, and it can really show. It can kind of show developmentally our strokes, our kind of motivation and everything like that. So I just want to thank you guys for letting us come out here tonight, and I just want to say that swimming and diving has really shown me as a senior what a family can be, kind of having a group of individuals come together and kind of accomplish one goal. So thank you.
One more note to let.
We have big, vast audience at home, Cheryl.
Okay. I'd just like to give you, make one more note, is that on our swim team, we have probably some of the highest GPAs in the school, and that I have asked the kids that have high GPAs, that the seniors that have GPAs in 3.5 or above, to fill out applications for all scholastic, all academic, all scholastic academic, right? Is that what it's called?
All Scholastic.
Yeah, and so hopefully
Yeah.
they will fill out the applications, and we'll hear about that.
Academic All-American.
Academic All-American, and hopefully we will hear about that in March also, or May. Okay, thank you.
I just want to say that I
know many people who aren't aware that we don't have a pool at Walpole High School. And not everybody realizes that you all travel to Westwood to practice, or Canton, and that extra level of commitment, I think, deserves to be recognized. And I think, you know, your team sometimes is kind of having your success in the shadow of other things that are going on at the high school because, you know, the physical presence of the pool is not there. And you all really do deserve to be in the spotlight. So congratulations for everything that you've done.
Yes, to swimmers and divers, I really have a newfound appreciation. On a personal note, my son, after doing gymnastics for about 10 years, decided in high school, he was going to try diving, going to do diving. And so I'm just starting to go to the meets, and it is amazing to see what you guys are able to do and accomplish and the improvement along the way. They're trying, you know, to get me to volunteer to do timers. I think I'm going to mess it up, but I'm going to take a risk. And I'll do that, and just the crazy hours. You know, 6:30 in the morning, or 10:30 at night. It really is amazing. It's a testament to you. So thank you for your hard work and commitment.
Yeah, thank you very much. Further questions? Seeing none, this is an awesome time, perhaps to take a group picture here. But we just want to, on behalf of the whole public school department, thank you. And I think as Carrie mentioned, we see you guys all throughout the year, and young women and men, not only doing this, not only excelling in academics, but also at plays, at concerts, and the like. So I'm always blown away, especially at the high school level, at our young student athletes' ability to multitask and success across all disciplines. And I think that's a wonderful thing for us, because it shows that the things we try to do here after you guys leave, the budgets and the like, that you guys really are capitalizing on those opportunities. So we're excited to have you back next year. I said that last year, and you are back this year. So I'm going to say it again this year, so you come back next year.
We'll be back.
But excellent.
There you go.
Great stuff. So if you like, this is a wonderful opportunity perhaps for a team picture, maybe with Lord Walpole in the background, or whatever you guys think. But please feel free to take the next minute or two to do that.
This is live TV
This
right
is
now,
live TV.
so
This is
take
big
your
stuff.
moment.
Okay, let's go, group.
Where do you want us, Mary?
Yeah, stand in front of us, and she'll,
Yeah.
that's probably.
My husband.
Are we squatting?
The tall ones don't have to squat. It's the short ones that get made to squat.
That's right.
Combine the boys and the girls without turning it into a big brouhaha thing. Because a couple of years ago, there were like 4 boys. They were not boys who were swimming because they were but they took it.
Can we shake all of your hands? Yes.
Oh, good
Yeah.
for you, Matt. Good for you.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Absolutely. Congratulations. Congratulations. Nice job. Good job. Congratulations. Nice work. Good job. Nice work. Good job. Good job. Nice work. I can't believe you're so old. Congratulations. You're awesome. Nice job. Congratulations. Nice job. Congratulations. Good work.
Hey, thanks for having us. Thank you very much for having us here tonight. I appreciate it.
Good job, Coach.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so
Thank you for
much.
having us here tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you for saying everything. Nice work. Thank you.
Some of us might doubt that.
That kid is a leader.
That's adorable.
Yeah, sure.
To see you, absolutely.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
Good job. Oh, do you have them? I can clear the room. Oh, yeah.
Thank you. All right. Moving on, our next order of business. Kathy, that's fine. Our next order of business, we do have a second recognition. We just want to very quickly recognize that tomorrow is our superintendent, Dr. Goff's 40th birthday. We're having fun tonight at the school committee. Excellent. Moving on, agenda item number 3 is the Walpole High School student. May I put that in the minutes, please? Walpole High School student report. This evening we have Ms. Darcy Coleman to report on the goings-on at Walpole High School.
Good evening. As the new year is beginning, so are many new activities around the WHS community. This Saturday, the Walpole High School Student Council is holding the annual MASC and SOMA Bocce Tournament. This event is in conjunction with Special Olympics, where schools from all over Massachusetts can attend and bring teams to play, be spectators, or participate in activities such as face painting, cornhole, and ring toss. The Special Effects Club is a new club coming to WHS where students are able to create and design sets with the goal of spreading creativity throughout the school. The first meeting was held today, and if you are interested in this club or have any questions, contact Mr. Brasini. The WHS Theater Club held auditions for their annual winter show this Wednesday and Thursday. To find more information on this event and ways you can get involved, you can visit the WHS website. The math team has had a very successful season so far, as they are 4th out of 36 teams. They have a meet today and will have to remain in the top 10 to qualify for playoffs. The green team is hosting a textile recycling drive. Materials such as clothing, shoes, belts, towels, pillowcases are all wanted and appreciated. These household items are then converted into new materials and fabrics, and for each amount we collect as a school, then money is awarded to Walpole High School. Sign-ups for the National French and Spanish exam are out. It is $10 to register and is due by January 16th. The test will be held in March for all foreign language students. The Spanish Club will be going on a trip into Boston after school on Thursday, January 16th. To attend, permission slips are needed by January 14th. Winter sports are well on their way. The track team has a meet today and are beginning to prepare for their postseason meets, where they hope to win the Division III title again this year. The girls' basketball team has a game Tuesday, January 4th at home against Brookline, and the boys will play at Brookline. The gymnastics team has a meet this Friday against Weymouth High School. The girls' hockey team has a game against King Philip on Monday and will play at home. The boys will play away against Hingham. And lastly, the wrestling team has a meet tonight at 6:30 at Newton North High School. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions for Ms. Coleman?
Darcy, do you know if somebody wanted to participate in the textiles recycling, what do? Do they just bring it to the high school?
Yeah, so there are, outside of like Plimpton School, there are like the big white bins, and that's where you would bring it. All like materials are picked up from in there, so you can bring it directly to there.
Thank you.
Further questions? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving on to our next order of business, new business. We have the METCO program update. METCO coordinator, Jasenia Castro.
Good evening. Am I talking into this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm Jasenia Castro, the Medical Program Director for Walpole. Thank you for having us. I have 2 students here with me, and I have a parent here with me, and I have staff. Do you guys want to come up and introduce yourself, or no? I'll introduce you. Okay. So Takina Yancey, this is her daughter's in 9th grade. You've been in the program since 1st grade. Zanaya, who is also a student at the high school, grade 9. This is her mom. Joy Martinez, who is grade 9. You've been in the program since what grade, Joy? 3rd grade. I have Miss Cherise McIntosh, who's the academic advisor at the high school. So again, thank you for having us. I put together a PowerPoint. There's some photos, there's a small video, a little bit of data. And if you have questions after, please feel free. So, Mary, whenever you're. So the mission of the program, in collaboration with the Walpole Public Schools, we're a proud participant, Walpole, of the METCO program since the 1970s. So we've been here for a very long time, the METCO program. I want to say it's been past 50 years, yes. The program's committed to making sure that every student, every METCO student finds their intellectual identities while developing the social capital necessary to expand their horizons. I did not create this mission statement, but I inherited it when I became the director. Our enrollment is based on annual program funding, so it's based on available seating and part of the intake and enrollment process. What makes our program so special? Us, of course. But we have diversity awareness. We work very closely with METCO headquarters. We do a lot of professional development with their diversity of, their director of equity and inclusion. So staff meetings on cultural proficiency, cultural humility. So lots of partnership with METCO headquarters that we do here in Walpole. We have amazing staff who work with all of our students at all levels, both elementary schools, our middle schools, and at the high school. We have a parent leadership board, which is new, so it's almost like a version of a PAC, but a Boston version. And our parent leaders work collaboratively with our Walpole families. They hosted an amazing soul food luncheon last year at Johnson, which was great, and you'll see photos in the PowerPoint. So really kind of bridging that gap and working together. Our students are involved in lots of activities and extracurricular across the board: drama, music, band, chorus, orchestra. So the kids are heavily involved. The breakfast program, that's what I call it, but it's the before school program at the elementary school for the students, which is awesome. And we have on-site tutoring, off-site tutoring, and lots of SAT prep programs for our high school students. And please feel free to ask me any questions during this presentation. So we did a video with, so you can hear from some of the students who were not available to be here. So we'll go ahead and play this. This was done at the high school.
Hi, I'm Jada. I've been in the METCO program for 11 years. Hi, I'm Zanaya. I've been in the METCO program for 9 years. Yes. I'm a freshman. I'm a junior.
My name is Joy. I've been in the METCO program for 6 years and I'm a freshman.
My name is Sarah. I'm a junior and this is my 11th year in the program. Being a Walpole student is challenging, but it's worth it.
I agree with Jada said. It could be challenging at some points, but it's a good learning experience and you get a lot from it. The academic wise, different opportunities you get, like being a part of different programs and stuff.
And we're more likely to get accepted into certain colleges because we have more credentials than students from Boston Public Schools.
The technology is very modern compared to other schools. Like, for example, in the music department, we have MacBooks, but maybe in other schools, there's probably only maybe a few computers, kind of in the media center. Like Sarah was saying, we have a lot of things that many other schools don't have, like music departments, and where they have budget cuts and they can't have those things. and we have like art programs and different clubs and sports that we can do.
My parents, they think it's a good experience for me, but at the same time, they feel like I should like experience other things. So it's like they're glad I'm in this program, but they want me to like have an experience to do other things.
Do you want to go? Okay. My parents see this as an opportunity for me, academically, especially for when I go into college, but they kind of see that I'm not really getting the teenage, the usual teenage having a job, driving the car, because, you know, you're getting up 5 a.m., you're probably coming back 12 hours later, and you don't really have time to get a job or really hang out with friends because the time you should be doing homework is the time you're on the bus.
It's definitely a great opportunity, you know, but it's a little farther out. So sometimes a regular day is a 12-hour day for medical students to put on and understand. But doing sports adds on another like 2 to 3 hours, and the bus ride home is also long. So doing sports like could be like a 15, 16-day hour for us medical students.
My parents also see this as an opportunity and a struggle, but like a worthwhile struggle. Although we can't do like things that other students can do, we have like opportunities to do things that they also can't do, like since they're not a part of like our program. I want to move on to college and go to med school.
I'm stuck between two different things. I do want to go to college, but I either want to go into the medical field or be a lawyer.
I plan on going to college and double majoring in business and the arts, because those are two things that I really like to do in my free time.
Castro, help. You know what? After I graduate high school, I plan on going to an HBCU and studying to be a defense attorney.
I think that one thing that would like improve it would be having more kids of color here, since like this is a majority predominant white area, and there's only a couple of kids that go to the high school that are of color, and a couple of kids that live in Walpole that are of color, and I think just having a more diverse area would be better for like everyone.
I think definitely doing a lot more for Black History Month, which is yet the shortest month of the year, and yet we barely even talk about anything besides, slavery. So I think, educating students on historical Black figures that did something positive or made a difference. And we all know about Harriet Tubman, we all know about Martin Luther King, but there's a lot more people who we don't talk about in school that definitely
positive things about black people, not negative things like slavery and people getting killed or something in a bad way, just positive things about what and how Black people did to become as successful that they are.
So our current enrollment, we have 32 students total, grades 1 through 12. I will say this is my third year here as the director. I've seen a lot of shifting. Families are moving to town, which really speaks to the integration of our program. They are now residents. Some families are moving out of Boston. So there's been a lot of shifting in our enrollment. Those are some of the reasons. Where our families are from, they're from all over the city of Boston, Dorchester, Hyde Park, Jamaica Plain, Mattapan, Roxbury, and South Boston. So that's where our school bus travels through. College Bound. So the college acceptances so far for this year, I have them listed there. They're still coming in slowly. But last year, 100% of our graduating class was college bound. Everybody went off to school, which is exciting. So I wanted to make sure we highlighted that. Parent leadership. So the parent leaders, in collaboration with the Foxborough parents, because I oversee both communities, formed a collaborative called Foxwall Leadership. That photo is of the Soul Food Luncheon at Johnson Middle School last year. The parent leadership also puts on the annual Back to School Ice Cream Social. Dr. Goff was there, Mr. Hahn came, and it was a great event, great family fun event, and we have it every year in August. The photo on the right is our annual holiday celebration, which is held in Boston, which is open to the whole community. What's coming up next? We are working on planning an HBCU fair at Walpole High School. HBCU is a historically black college and university, and having that to expose students, not just students in the METCO program, but all students who have an interest to learn more about an HBCU. So we're working on that for the spring. The annual MDA Youth Conference, which is at Bentley University, that's for juniors and sophomores. That is hosted by the METCO Directors Association, and it's really a leadership conference for students. So that's an exciting event. And the end of the year celebration by the parent leadership. Activities, these are just some of the activities that our students are involved in: sports, art. One of our students was an all-scholastic football star. So just some of the highlights of what the kids are doing. More activity photos, that's the Elm Street Breakfast Club on the left, and the OPR kiddos for breakfast in the morning. We have a middle school girls club that we do. We started it last year. We kind of get together and talk about different things, different stuff that they want to unpack. And it's actually not just students in the METCO program. There are also resident students that are part of the group. After school fun, more photos. HQ and program highlights. So this last year was the first year we started to collaborate with Foxborough so that students can utilize the late bus. So now we have a lot more students who are staying after, and they get to go home with the Foxborough late bus at 6 o'clock.
Nice.
So that's been a big help. The Credit Fair for Life, I bring students to that as well. It's an event for seniors. And again, our partnership with METCO headquarters on professional development. So METCO is moving to an online application lottery. Years ago, it used to be, you have to get signed up at birth. When I was in the METCO program, I was signed up when I was 3 months old, and I got called when I was in 2nd grade. So that's no longer how the program is going to be working. It's now a lottery, and every year, anyone can sign up. It's open. The doors are kind of making it more flexible, more transparent. The lottery closed last week. So we will start here in Walpole to start looking at our enrollment sometime in late February, maybe early March. The application process is more equitable, efficient, and much more transparent for families. And this is a copy of what it kind of looks like, the flyer that METCO has made available to the different METCO communities. Just kind of the process, very simple, not this 12-page application, so just simplifying it. And lastly, METCO is hosting an event called Detroit Red. It's open to all METCO communities, and it's a artistic, provoking performance that fosters meaningful conversations about race. Again, it's open to all METCO districts. And thank you. This is a huge thank you to my team. I got an amazing team. I have staff at all levels. I mean, this work really does not get done without the team. So this is just a thank you to all the staff. And there we go with Dr. Goff and the kiddos at the high school. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions while I'm here?
Yeah, but I'll start just before I open it up to my colleagues. First and foremost, I want to thank you both for coming and joining us here at the school committee, and commend you for your grit and your commitment. I think it, as we heard from the video, it says a tremendous amount that that bus comes early. And tonight, by just coming out here to speak to us, that means a couple less hours of sleep for Friday as well. So I think this program is an amazing one. When I was up in high school, we had a tremendous program as well. And I think you are a great addition and a great part of our community. And I think you really contribute so much to our high school community, especially, but all across our district. So I wanted to start with that because I think that, and open up to the rest of my colleagues. But I just want to thank you for being here, and I know a lot of other people have a ton of questions as well. So I'll start on my right, Ms. Zuniga.
I do have a ton of questions, but I'm not going to ask all of them. But just for my own edification, I'm curious about why Elm and OPR only are our elementary sites. Is that a logistical transportation issue? I don't know if just any of you know the answer.
So when I started, we actually had 3 elementary schools. We had Fisher, OPR, and still Elm. Logistically, yes, because all the students ride on one school bus.
I see.
So it would be hard unless they had separate, like elementary had their own bus, high school had, middle had
You
had
need
their
it
own
to
bus.
be either the too early or the too late.
Right.
Yeah.
So to get them all from one bus in the different school times, it kind of just has to work that we only have 2 elementary schools.
Okay, that
And
makes
the student at
sense.
Fisher ended up going to middle school, so.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So my next question is for really Miss McIntosh or you, Jasenia, or anybody, but primarily Joy and Zanaya.
Oh.
And Mom. You talked a little bit about the fact that it's challenging to be in the program, and obviously the commute is a big part of that, but I would love to hear more from you, your honest assessment about the challenges, what they are. And then if you have any thoughts on what could be done to make it less challenging, I would be happy to hear those too.
So yeah, transportation really is a big challenge. I have to get up at 4:50 every morning because it's me and my brothers, and we all have to like get ready and be downstairs by 6 so that we can get to our bus. And then we ride the bus. I get to at the high school at 7:25, and then my brothers go off and they go to their school, and they get to their school on like whatever time they start. And then we go throughout the school day. After school, we stay after till 3. And then we get back on the bus, we make the round, pick up all the schools, and then I get home at around 5. And yeah, it's just a long school day. And then I have to get all my homework done and then go to bed by 9 so that I'm ready and awake for the next day.
What about, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, you can
Sanaya.
go. It's fine.
I was just going to say, what about when you're here?
What do you
Like,
mean?
what are the challenges just once you've gotten here, which is its own hurdle? What about
okay.
in the course of your school day here?
Like what, like in school, like the
Yeah.
classes?
Anything. Yeah.
I feel like the classes are like moderately challenging. Like they're not too hard, but then again, they're not too easy. They make you think about it, and then there's also good help from the teachers. So if you're ever too confused, you can go to them.
Me personally, I don't really have that many challenges for the school day. It's a pretty nice day. It's just for me, it's just the waking up and going to sleep late.
That's one of my largest challenges too. Okay. Does your mom want to add anything?
Not
Okay.
I'm not a big speaker.
That's fine.
Cut me off guard.
Okay. Thank you. That's it.
Further questions? What's the
Sure. First of all, I thought it was really nice that you were showing appreciation for the opportunity. I think we want to show that same back to you because your program makes our community richer. And I do agree with you with the idea that it would be nice if there were more black students. I think that I've been thinking about this a lot. You can't force diversity on a community. And it seems to me like our diversity is coming in different ways. That, some we have more people from Brazil, for example. And, maybe they all don't look the same, and that's okay. I think we just, that we all have to be receptive to people who are different from us. But I don't disagree with you at all about the fact that it would be nice if the community was even more diverse. But I just want to say, I really think that your program helps us to, and we have appreciation for what you bring also. I used to teach a long time ago, and one of the things in the school that I worked at was there were host families for Metco families. Do we do that here in Walpole? And I worked in a school that went K to 8, and as kids got into the 7th and 8th grade, the friendships were a little bit more natural, and so the support was there. But I thought it was really nice in the lower grades to have a family from the host community be connected with a Boston family, because it's interesting. Just recently, I've heard from some of these students that, and the friendships still exist from those years. So I was just wondering if you had any opinion on that. It looks like maybe Jasenia has some ideas too. But you girls also, I'd be interested what you had to say.
The friendships are really good. It's good for us to have good friends here. It's just it's hard for us to hang out with them and stuff, because sometimes we may not have a way of getting home, or it may get a little late. So that's just the only thing for me. But I try to stay in Walpole sometimes.
Okay.
So I'll just quickly add. So we've talked about having a Friends of Walpole kind of a program. But you're right, the friendships have to be kind of organic,
Yeah.
the kids have to, so kind of figuring out a way how to do that. When I was in the METCO program, I had a host family. I'm still friends with Alexandra and Ellen and my buddies. So I think it definitely fosters a lasting friendship. We just have to figure out a creative way how to make it work for us.
And then the last thing I would say, I liked the part where you talked about improvements that could be made. If you could just give us a copy of not just, but all of your comments, I think it was useful. And as we do strategic planning for future, I'd love to have a copy of that. So thank you.
Further questions? Ms. Sarek?
I just wanted to sort of echo what my colleagues said. I know you ladies are brave, to go through what you go through to make these choices. I know, like you said, there's things that you're giving up, but things that you're gaining. And I know Zanaya has been in most of my son's classes, so I think it's been great to have, somebody who's a little different, but also has always been a big part of his classes and fit in like everybody else. So I think it's great to have that connection. So thank you again for everything, and happy to, as everybody said, make any changes, help you make your day a little bit easier, or make any of those changes that need to be made, because I think it's a great program. Thank you.
I just wanted to thank Jasenia, just working with her, especially, my first year last year. She just brings such vibrant energy and just motivation outside. You're an outside-the-box thinker. Just what can we do for this program? What can we do for our students in Walpole? So you've really brought great things to the METCO program, but equally great things to Walpole. So thank you. Keep up the good work.
Just as a final note, Nancy mentioned our strategic planning. Jasenia, you joined us last year. I think a couple of your students did as well. So
we had some of our seniors are now graduating.
I don't know if you have any other star seniors or the like who'd like to join us for this one. Think about it.
Some kids with me,
that would be
so
great.
we'll
I
see.
think
Yes,
that would be
absolutely
awesome. It's a good day. But thank you again. Any further final questions or comments?
I would just say, you all and your compatriots in the METCO program are part of the Walpole community, and I think that any time that you have an opportunity to share your voice and your perspective, please do, because we would like to hear from you, because you are part of our community and you're part of our team. So, thank you.
And thanks for being here tonight.
Excellent. Moving on to new business, we are tabling mid-year FY20 budget. We're moving to the first reading of the school calendar. Dr. Goff.
So enclosed is a proposed draft calendar for the 2020-2021 school year. For your, it's a first reading. So the calendar proposes that teachers will return to school on Monday, August 31st. Students in grades 1 through 12 will return to school on Wednesday, September 2nd. And pre-K and K kindergarten students will return to school on Tuesday, September 8th. And the last day of school for grades K to 11 without snow days, would be Thursday, June 17th, 2021. So again, this is just a first reading.
Anything jump out at anybody in the first reading? Ms. Gallion.
I just noticed that because it's a presidential election year, it looks like you're choosing to do the professional development that day?
Yes.
Yeah, for staff.
Yes.
So no students, but staff
We'll have
would
staff
would be
come in,
there.
and we'll move that from the January date.
Right. And I think it's just important to not use Fisher School or Old Post Road School for the staff, have them go somewhere else. Just so the parking lots are free. But yeah, that's the
Usually
thing that I
that,
noticed.
that day is earmarked for Ed Camp, but that's housed at the high school. All staff reports to the high school. on
Perfect,
that
yep.
day.
Good stuff. And I see in April we have day of low attendance on the 2nd.
Mhm.
Is that Good Friday again, too? Because we have historically low attendance. Excellent. So just as far as timeline, generally we will take this under advisement. We have our budget public hearings that go through the center of this month, and we'll take this up again on our January 30th meeting. Excellent. Continuing to move rapidly along. Superintendent's report.
I think it's the school committee calendar.
School committee calendar, fair enough, same calendar.
So I think encloses the proposed draft calendar for the 2020-2021 school committee meetings. So again, this draft is presented for a review as a first reading.
Any initial comments? I'm glad we're not meeting on Valentine's Day, because that was a thing last time. It really was a thing. It was, honest to God. And I know, just kind of looking at current practice now, we will probably be adding some workshops as we go forward.
Yes,
Especially
definitely.
summertime and the like, which is a good thing. Excellent. Seeing no comment, moving on to superintendent's report.
So as I mentioned at the December school committee meeting, we're in the process of preparing the budget for the FY21 school year. Mr. Frischer and I met with all members of the Leadership Council to discuss their goods and services budget, as well as discussions regarding personnel needs. So the budget hearings this month will be as followed. We have a January 14th that'll focus on goods and services. January 21st will focus on personnel. And then if it's needed, we always put that third meeting on January 23rd. All meetings will begin at 7, and they're going to take place at Walpole High School. We held the Fales, Leach, Rogers, and Kunde Scholarship meeting before the December break. I'd like to thank everyone for reviewing the applications and coming together to award 74 scholarships totaling approximately $105,000 to our former Walpole High School students who are pursuing their college careers. There are actually thank you notes at the end of your packets from some of our former students. I'd also like to thank the Charles Fales Fund, the Joseph S. Leach Fund, the Benjamin D. Rogers Fund, and the Dorothea and William Kunde Scholarship Trust for their continued generosity. It was really it's a nice night. Enjoy that. Just prior to the break, I participated in walkthroughs at the high school with Mr. Embush. School visits this week focused on Elm Street School, and tomorrow I'll be going to Daniel Feeney Preschool, one of my favorites. I'm also in the process of answering what I call a slew of emails from the 8th grade civics students. They're researching a problem of practice or an issue related to Walpole Public School. So I'm getting them, and I love reading them and answering them. They're very interested. They're from homework to middle school schedules to what a new building should look like, and they have some great ideas into the organizational structure on that. And yes, of course, air conditioning. The Wellness Committee met on Tuesday, January 7th, and completed their first read-through of the Walpole Bullying Prevention and Intervention Plan. The plan is reviewed every 2 years by the Wellness Committee and all of the individual school councils. All of the feedback will be considered, and the Bullying Prevention and Intervention Plan will be updated this spring and summer. All feedback is welcome. Community members can contact Assistant Principal Hahn if they have any questions or comments. The Research for Better Teaching course, it's called Studying Skillful Teacher. That's going to start this Monday, January 13th. Walpole's hosting instructor Dr. Deborah Reed from RBT. She's excellent. She'll be leading 25 Walpole teachers from all 7 schools in this exciting coursework. The course focuses on building teachers' capacity, really to build and promote students' motivation, learning, and also increase student achievement. Speaking of professional development, as I mentioned, there'll be no school for the students on Friday, January 17th. All staff's going to be participating in what's known as an Ed Camp. It's really designed to drive participant-driven professional development for educators. It really focuses on collaboration and group expertise and instructional strategies and designs. So some of the sessions, will include or may include digital learning, supporting students with anxiety. We actually have an outside person, Julie Love from McLean Hospital, talking about students with anxiety. Content areas to improve teaching and learning. ALICE training, those staff members that we've hired during the year, like long-term substitutes or any staff that have been hired after the August are participating in the ALICE training. Workshops on equity, the Lucy Calkins, workshop all throughout the day. We're actually going to have students there this year, right, Bill? Mm-hmm. Talking about robotics, showcasing that, the speech and debate team. So there'll be students that have volunteered their time to participate as well. So it should be a great professional development day. Just a reminder, for kindergarten registration, those packets went out January 3rd, and families can register at the schools the week of January 21st through the 24th. This year, we added an evening registration because many parents work and they're unable to get to the schools during the school day. So Tuesday evening that week, the 21st, at the town hall, at the superintendent's office, room 204. People can register until 8 p.m., so there'll be an evening as well. Just a quick MSBA update. I'm pleased to report that after following a qualifications-based process, the Walpole School Building Committee formally voted last night to recommend Compass Project Management to the MSBA as Walpole's proposed owner's project manager. It's an understatement to say that this was a rigorous process. It required multiple meetings and multiple documents to be submitted to the MSBA. I would publicly like to thank the interview committee who spent endless hours reviewing the applications, conducting the interviews, and completing the paperwork, specifically Patrick Shield and Mike Frischer. The next date that's up, important date, is February 3rd, where the OPM panel review meeting will be at MSBA. And then hopefully from then, we'll get a design team on board. Most of my time outside the school day has been spent on writing my entry findings. As you are aware, over the summer, one component of participating in the superintendent's induction program in the state of Massachusetts is to develop an entry plan. And then in order to continue our focus on teaching and learning, the plan's really designed to gain a deeper understanding of the district, identify some strengths, recognize some opportunities for further inquiry. The outcome really is going to be the basis to development of a strategy that helps guide our future work. So between July and December, I systematically collected both qualitative and quantitative data, and the goal is to share what I've learned, and it's organized to themes. It's not to present solutions, just the findings. And they represent some patterns that have emerged. You'll find that there's 3 patterns that emerged during the process, and that's what it'll require some further investigations and developing a strategy for district improvement. My hope is to share the findings at the next school committee meeting, so ahead of schedule. Finally, last but not least, tomorrow, January 10th, is, other than my birthday, no, is the first annual Walpole Random Acts of Kindness Day, and it's organized by Walpole residents to encourage all to share some random acts of kindness, and that was included in your packets. So that's tomorrow. Thank you.
Good stuff. I know we're going to have the Random Acts of Kindness link on our notes as well. Very good. Moving on to old business, preschool tuition. We have with us Director Martin again and Mr. Quealy. And before we begin, I just want to thank you both for all of the information you put together for us. I know we had some additional information we looked for, and I found it personally very helpful. So we'll begin this discussion, but I'm just very grateful for all your work in a short time frame leading up to this.
Just as a reminder, just a quick recap, that a report or audit was done by Dr. Rhonda Taft-Farrell on the Daniel Feeney preschool program, and one of the recommendations was to look at the tuition and the tuition increase to make it comparable to other school districts. So this was based on a recommendation. We came to a discussion at the last school committee meeting, and then Dr. Quealy and Julie Martin will be able to answer some questions and see, what you have an appetite for or not for, and follow the recommendations and suggestions.
You guys want to start?
I think that recapped.
Excellent.
Question. They're prepared to answer any questions that you
Excellent.
may have regarding the tuitions, the makeup of the classes, because with the tuitions, I know it can be confusing when you look at all of these days for the students, right, for the programs.
Questions from my colleagues? Ms. Gallion.
Just want to be clear, for next year, are we going to have 5 teachers or are we going to have 6?
We have 6 teachers. That's
Now.
not changing. We have 6 teachers currently. Next year, we're also going to have 6 teachers.
Okay.
Our program is going to shift a little bit. So there's, because one of our classrooms next year will be sub-separate. So those will be for students with special education needs.
Only special education?
Yes. And
Okay.
And they'll be taught, they'll have like more systematic, explicit instruction with one of our severe special needs teachers. The other classes will all have peers. So to answer your question, we have 6 teachers currently. That will remain for next year.
And what we saw today said 5 teachers. That's what has me confused.
This
Teacher
is-
1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
This is the updated that's in there.
Oh.
Six
The
is-
6th one, the
It's
6th
a
one, Nancy, was
sub-separate.
sub-separate.
It's
So that's why it
because
was
five
on
classrooms
there.
have peers,
Because 5
one
classrooms-
classroom will not. That's
Right.
why it's 5.
Okay.
Because the tuition does not apply for those students who have the full program for special education needs. So when we're talking about the 5 classrooms with regards to tuition, we're
Got
talking
it.
about those peers who would be tuition paying.
Okay. And my other question related to that is, I know as a child turns 3 years old, that's when they can start the program. And sometimes you find out in the summer that you need another teacher. So my question is, are you, based on what you know about children who live in Walpole today, are you pretty sure that 6 is the right number of teachers?
At this time, I would say yes.
And you have looked into the kids that are going to turn 3 over the next year?
Yes, we look at numbers, and I think there's a variety of different factors, and John could probably speak to it as well.
We also coordinate with early intervention.
Exactly,
So
yep.
they give us heads up as far as what might be coming down more.
And so
we
you
have-
feel like 6 is the right number?
Right now. yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Further questions? Ms. Alicio.
I just want to clarify where the tuition funds go within district. So are they all coming back to Feeney? Are any of those fees coming into revolving accounts that are used for other things in district, or?
tuitions usually are revolving accounts, which could then supplement staff, it could be materials, it could be, I would imagine you can use it for anything, given it is a revolving account.
Mhm.
That's my assumption. I think Mike
Yeah,
would be
you
able
can
to
use for the
confirm that.
tuition pieces or the resources that they need. in the
But it
classroom.
is specific to the Feeney.
Yes, it is
Yes.
specific to
Yes.
Feeney,
Yes.
It has to be.
Yes, yes, okay. And I understand, Julie, that you communicated to your current families to let them know that this discussion was happening.
Yes.
And I'm curious if you got any feedback at all.
No, they know that they're, that we always put on the application and materials that the tuitions are, subject to change. We're holding, our peer applications are new, for our new families, we're holding, and that will come out tomorrow.
Right.
And our returning families, that's been out, and a notation that tuitions are subject to change, so.
Okay. I looked at the three options for, in terms of what would it mean for a family over 3 years, the increases. And, some options, it's kind of a bigger jump than others. And so I know that families haven't seen any numbers, but I just was curious if anybody had reached out because, this is going to affect people's planning.
Of course,
Yeah,
yes.
so. Okay, thank you.
We tried to keep more modest jumps in the front end of the 3 years.
Yes. Right.
So not to too heavily penalize folks who are already in the program.
Exactly.
Because families usually are in the program 2 years.
Right.
By 2 years, they're out.
Yes.
Have siblings coming in, so that's.
Right, anybody who's here now is not going to be here when year 3 kicks in.
big
Right,
jumps.
Yes.
right.
Mhm. Okay. Thank you.
Right.
Further questions from the committee? Mrs. Gallagher?
I think we want to decide tonight on the money so that they can move forward with their advertising. And I think we got a lot of information at the last meeting, took a little while to sort of sort through it and digest it, but our costs have not kept up in two ways. They haven't kept up with what similar towns are charging for a similar experience, but they also haven't kept up with the fact that our budget has grown a great deal since 2012. And if we don't address the increases in fees, it means that it's coming at the cost of some other part of our program. So, I don't like being dependent on fees. On the other hand, we can't make money. So we have to be comfortable taking the money from elsewhere in the school budget if we don't make our fees keep up with time. I would go for option one, where the increase would go up 5% next year, 10% the year after, and 15% the third year. And I just want to make sure that I'm interpreting that properly. What I think that means, and I think that it's probably you, John, who could answer this the most. What I think that means is a tuition our highest tuition that a family would pay right now today is $4,600 for the year. Correct?
Yes.
That sounds correct.
So I moved that up by 15% and said that means the biggest increase would be from 4,600 to 5,290, or a total of $690 over the 3 years.
Sounds right.
And
So, it's just a little bit higher than that, according to this.
Oh,
By year,
6,070.
6,070 over 3 years.
Yes, that is the highest number.
That's the highest number.
Of all options, yeah.
So right here.
There's so much to look at.
I know,
Yeah.
I know.
And so, yes.
this is the highest, this is what
I
you're
see.
talking about, and then
Yeah,
if
so-
we go with option 1, by year 3, we're looking at 6,000.
Yeah.
You're looking at
That's the problem. I don't think I have that page. Just cut it? All right, never mind. But essentially, in the 600, I was, I think that's reasonable, I guess, is what I would say, over a 3-year period. I would wish we didn't have to raise fees, but I think we do.
And I think the driving force for that number are the comparison districts in our area, which
Right.
puts us close to, really in that neighborhood of other districts. But it's a similar service.
And
Sorry?
I would say it's still kind of low.
It's still on the lower end.
It really is. So, I mean, I thought we talked about Medfield, Natick.
Yeah.
We're below them for
Yep.
sure.
I think Westwood was
We're definitely below Westwood with the increase.
Yep.
And
With the
that's
increase.
compared to today's number.
And in the most aggressive option. as well.
Exactly, yeah. So I would rather head in that direction, rather than saying, oh, we didn't do enough, we're back again, kind of a thing.
I was going to echo what Nancy just said. I looked at, the comparison data, and I think even if we go with the most aggressive option, we're still below other districts, and it looks like we're in line with or slightly below the local preschool as well. Sunshine. I think that's what the data had. So it's about, South Walpole. So I'm completely comfortable with that because I think it puts us, we're not so aggressive that we're more expensive than anyone else. I think it's completely fair.
Well, and that being said, as we discussed earlier, we have all certified licensed
Right.
staff at our school, and clearly, and many people with many specializations as well, and expertise in a lot of areas, speech, OT, that sort of thing. So
Right, there are other
it's not
benefits.
an
Absolutely.
apples to apples comparison,
Sure.
even with those other schools.
I concur. I think, even we're seeing, overarchingly, we have a focus on early education to serve our youngest students and early intervention, and I think your program in particular is a wonderful one, but it is also, importantly, not a mandated one by DESE, so that I think we're...
The peer part of it is.
The peer part of it is, but I'm saying
special
the tuition piece is not. So I think, I'd love to see us educating every preschooler in town at maybe a beautiful facility somewhere. I think what you guys are achieving now is admirable, and and unfortunately cheap as well. So as I kind of looked over it, I would also favor the first option, the 5, 10, 15% increase. And I think we're doing it the right way as well, with the phase, with the communication as well to parents. We strive to be as transparent as possible in the things that we do, but we also, there are many other programs that come to mind that we've in the past have kind of underfunded, like our school lunch and things like that. So
And it also does keep in mind, as you said, our current families too, and that it's, how it will impact them when they're, applying tomorrow or.
excellent. Mrs. Gallivan.
Related to this, and it's not, I will make a motion about the tuition, but it won't include this. I just want to make it as part of the conversation. I think that we're going to hear a further report on what Dr. Rhonda Taft-Farrell said, right? Because I'd like to try to have a conversation about, is there a way to meet the needs of the typical peers going forward, knowing that the 2.5 hours just doesn't do it for a lot of families. And I don't want to tie it to the tuition, but I originally did want to. I would love to be able to say, we're adding something of that, something to meet their needs, as well as increasing the tuition. And I don't know if it's conceivable, but I would like to put that placeholder in there so that when we hear the report, we maybe put together a task force to say, what are some of the needs of the non-special ed students that we're trying to serve, and is there something we could do to make it match the needs of more families? Because I think the need for a 2.5-hour daycare preschool is different because of families' daycare needs. So I'd just like to put that placeholder in for future conversation.
Further thoughts, questions, or comments? Seeing none, Nancy, would you like to make a motion?
Sure, I would make a motion that we vote to increase the Daniel Feeney preschool tuition by 5% for FY '21 by 10% for FY '22 and by 15% for FY '23.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Gallivan, second by Ms. Syrek. All those in favor? Opposed, abstained, 400. Did you give me all my papers back? I think so. Excellent.
think I did.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on, our
Thank
next.
you.
Thank you very much. Our next agenda item, take a brief pause, shuffle my papers around.
Can I take this one from you?
You did, in fact.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Old business is Massachusetts School Building Authority update, which the good doctor already gave us. Subcommittee activity.
Just at the end of the month, we're going to be having a curriculum subcommittee meeting, special education subcommittee meeting. And then Nancy, I think in February, is it the 3rd, we have the tech legislative breakfast that's coming up?
Yes.
We'll be able to meet with our legislators to discuss educational issues, budget, all that good stuff. Anybody else has anything with subcommittee or?
Yeah, I actually do.
Okay.
Yeah, please.
I was thinking about the legislative breakfast coming up, thinking about the fact that we're starting our budget process, and so is the state starting theirs. So I was thinking that if it's okay with the committee, I'm going to write to our legislators tomorrow with asking them to pay attention to 3 points. One being the fact that the legislative breakfast at Tech will be Friday, February 7th, starting at 9:30 in the morning. The second one is we're hearing that our Medicaid funding is going to be reduced significantly. And Medicaid funding comes from the federal government, but it gets distributed by the state. So I think it makes sense to point out this significant gap to our state legislators, to ask them to advocate with us to Congressman Lynch and Senators Warren and Markey for the fact that this federal cut has real impacts to local districts, because the mandate still exists to provide the service. The funding just goes away, or looks like it's going to go away. And I want to phrase it in that way because I think we shouldn't give up on the fact that money is for services that are required for our students. So anyway, I have some draft language for what I was thinking of writing about that, and if it's okay, I'll just see if you guys have any thoughts on it. I have something along the lines of, all school districts are eligible for federal reimbursement that is dispersed through the state. Wait, I'm going to change glasses so I can really read this. It's going to work out better. Sorry. All school districts are eligible for federal reimbursement that is dispersed through the states for those specific services that schools are required to provide for our special education students whose needs include a medical component. I already know that's a grammatically long sentence, run-on sentence, right, Dr. Goff? I'll work on that part of it. Being very careful about the local taxpayer, the Walpole Public School District has been diligent about reporting these costs and collecting the reimbursement. We're now being told by the federal government that the services that are eligible for reimbursement have greatly decreased, but must still be provided for locally. In our case, it results in a potential cut of over 50%. And I haven't done the arithmetic, but I think it was from about 587,000 down to 250.
I think it was 558 to 250.
Significant.
Yes, significant.
So that's more than a 50% cut, yep. We ask that you advocate along with us to Congressman Lynch and Senators Warren and Markey to prevent this potential change. And I read in the Globe 2 or 3 days ago that the state, so let me just read to you what I have. And since the money comes through the state, and the state has collected additional Medicaid funding in one particular area, they added a 2-year tax to businesses. And essentially, they raised more money than they expected to raise. What I would like to at least ask them to consider is, since you raised more money in one particular area for Medicaid, it would make sense to me that potentially they could apply some of the money that was freed up to mitigate the cost to local districts. I know I started reading and then I stopped reading, but that's the sense of what I would like to ask them to do. I think that we can't just roll over and say, oh yeah, you know, there goes
And-
another $250,000.
Dr. Quealy and Kathy Coleman, who also works in the department, is in charge of really getting and putting the Medicaid together. They're going to a meeting next month with the state to find out even more information, what they're able to get, and see you know, if we're able to get anything more. But I think that's great, Nancy.
And I think we have different roles. I mean,
Yeah.
they are employees that have to follow the rules. I think it's more appropriate for us to push back and say, hey, wait a second.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, what I'm trying to do in a, recognizing the fact that it's the state and the federal mixed together in this case. So, if anybody has any thoughts or wants to read it before I send it, I'll be glad to do that, but,
Sure, I can take a look if
Yeah.
you want to
that'd
send
be
it.
good.
Yeah.
That'd be good, thank
I
you.
can sign stuff now too, so.
I know.
No cooling off period for me.
Okay, and the third point is that I would like to bring up on the radar screen of our legislators is charter school reimbursement and circuit breaker funding. Because especially in the short term, the most positive financial impact of the Student Opportunity Act for a district like ours will come from full reimbursement of charter school funding and the fact that transportation will get included in the circuit breaker. So want to point that out to our legislators to say, please pay attention to those two accounts in particular, but also to ask them to increase the communication between the legislature and DESE around these two accounts, because previously it became very difficult to get solid answers about either one of those accounts. And since a change is being made, I think if a legislator is told during the budget session that $100,000 is going to his or her district, $100,000 should show up at that district, as opposed to some money being held back at some point along the way. And so that's the point that I'm trying to get at there. And I think that all of us should begin to think about talking to our legislators along those lines.
Nancy, the other thing too, you know, we're taking a look at is, I don't know if you've been involved in this, just to watch any private school tuition increases.
Oh, I was writing that separately. You're right. I should just put that right in here.
Yeah,
Yes.
because with the
Yes.
Student Opportunity Act, in towns receiving funds, to just make sure there's not a trend that the private school tuitions increase, along with the transportation costs.
Yeah, because John Quealy did tell us the other day that we have, in two cases, I believe the proposed increase is in the 18 to 20% range. Well, if our budget doesn't go up by 18 to 20%, then we take it from somebody else.
That's a concern of mine.
So, yeah, I'll build that right in.
Okay.
For some reason, I started writing that one separately, but it should go right in there.
Okay.
Thanks.
Very good.
So are you guys okay with a letter coming
Yeah,
on behalf of the
absolutely.
committee?
Just, yeah.
And I'll have you proof it for me, Kristen, that'd be
Okay.
great. Thank you.
Excellent. Anything
Oh,
further under
sorry,
subcommittees?
one more.
Yeah, excellent. I knew there was something else.
There
I
was.
saying.
When I went to the MASC conference, I volunteered to be on a committee that's developing some curriculum. It's anti-vaping curriculum. And the group is starting to meet. Long story short, I wasn't able to connect to the video conference along with a bunch of people this morning. So I'll talk to the woman tomorrow, but it got my wheels spinning in terms of some things that we're doing in Walpole that I thought that we should all sort of come up to speed about. And I don't know exactly where we are in terms of curriculum changes, but in the beginning of October, there was a presentation that was done at the police station, and there were two programs that I wasn't aware of until that night that I thought that the whole committee should know about. One is that the first day of school, Mr. Imbush met with all the students and talked about rules and all sorts of things, and he talked about the consequences related to vaping. And what he also did was he said to the students, we understand that this is an addiction, and if you voluntarily come to us and say, I'm trying to stop, there will be no consequences for that, and we're putting together a program to help students that want to either stop for the first time or who have been trying to stop and haven't been able to stop. And this was soon after he had made that rotation through all the kids, and I think he said there were between 8 and 10 kids who immediately came down and said, I need some help. So this is, it's something that maybe isn't in the news the way it was 2 or 3 months ago, but it's a really big deal that we need to stay on top of. And then this is all on Walpole Media. You can go and go to the on-demand section. It's very, very interesting. There was a woman who's a psychologist who works for Mass General and Harvard Medical School, and she did the first set of presentations. The statistics are just pretty scary. One of the things that she's done is she's done a number of studies across many schools where they've paid students to either stop vaping, and they have to get tested every day or every other day. And they've also paid students who have not been vaping to remain not vaping. And what she's comparing is the cognitive effects of these changes. And it's just super compelling information. I just thought I wanted to bring it up here because it's 45 minutes. Well, that presentation probably went on a little bit more than that, but her section is like 20 minutes of it. So if you only have time, check that out. It's really, it's scary, but it's important, and I feel like we should be proud of some of the things that we're doing in the district to fight back.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Anything further? Anyone? Moving on. Comments from the citizenry? Seeing none. Approval of warrants, donations, and minutes. Ms. Nunzio.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to accept the following payroll warrants from December 12th, number 2024 PA for the amount listed in your packets. Second.
Motion by Ms. Denizio, second by Ms. Syrek. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstained? 400.
I'll make a motion to accept the following accounts payable warrants from December 19th, number 220025, from December 26th, number 220026, and from January 2nd, number 220027, for the amounts listed in your packets. Second.
Motion by Ms. Denizio, second by Ms. Syrek. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstained? 400. Someone like to take the gift and donation approval?
Okay, this is a long one. Make a motion to accept the following gifts and donations to Bird Middle School from Caroline Tabor Kiesling, 6th grade supplies in memory of Marilyn Boulay, $25. Bird Middle School from Arbella Insurance Foundation for a field trip, $400. To Bird Middle School from State Street Foundation matching gift program, $1,000. To Daniel Feeney Preschool, Elm Street School, Johnson Middle School from Life Touch National Studios Photography Commission, $4,782. To Elm Street School from Denise M. Is it Brock? Broccoli? Broccoli and Drusilla Broccoli, school supplies in memory of Marilyn Boulay, $100. Johnson Middle School from Nancy Connolly, Stop and Shop gift cards for families in need in the amount of $50. To Johnson Middle School from the Walpole Cultural Council, coding connection with Sphero, $2,500. To Johnson Middle School, Old Post Road School, Boyden School, Elm Street School from Bay State Textiles Recycling, $151. System-wide from Loiters Environmental Incorporated, general donation, $100. And system-wide from Bobby's Auto Service Commission, $1,002. Second.
Motion by Ms. Denicio, second by Ms. Cyrek. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstained? 400. Would someone like to take the minutes?
Sure. I'd like to make a motion to approve the regular school committee meeting minutes for December 12th, 2019. Second.
Motion by Ms. Cyrek, second by Ms. Denicio. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstained? 400. Someone like to do the honors?
Motion to adjourn. Second.
Motion by Ms. Denizio, second by Ms. Cyrek. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstained? 400. Thank you very much.
Fabulous.